Hello everybody. Welcome to Story Time again from the Milledgeville Public Library of Illinois. The story we have for you today is a story about an animal who was a little bit proud of himself. This is a story that comes from the Ojibwa people that live in North America, and this is the legend of the beaver's tail. Once long ago, the beaver did not look the way he does now. Oh, he was still a chubby fellow, and his front teeth were very big and large because he liked to chew on things. But his tail was very fluffy and silky and covered in beautiful glossy fur. Well, the beaver, he was a little proud of that tail. Well, actually, more than a little proud of that tail, and he would go about talking to the other animals about his tail. He said to the bird, "Look at my glorious tail. Don't you wish you had a tail like this, bird? It's so beautiful and silky and soft." And bird said, "Well, beaver, it is a very nice tail, but really all I wish for is a nice cozy nest for my family." Well, beaver wasn't really listening to what bird wanted. He was stroking his nice soft tail. And so bird flew off to gather twigs and leaves to make a nice cozy nest for his family. And as beaver continued walking through the woods, he found deer. And he said, "Deer, look at my tail. It is the tail to end all tails. It is the best tail in the world. Wouldn't you agree? It's so nice and soft and fluffy. Wouldn't you like a tail like mine, deer?" And deer said, "Well, it is a very nice tail, beaver, but what I really would like is some nice tender grass for my family to munch on." But beaver wasn't really listening to what deer wanted, and so deer wandered off looking for some nice green grass to chew on. And beaver continued walking, and he came to the edge of the water, and he saw fish in the water. And he said, "Fish, look at my magnificent tail. Isn't it so nice and fluffy?" And fish jumped out of the water and looked, and he said, "Well, it is a very nice tail, beaver, but really all I wish for is some calm, warm water to rest in." But beaver wasn't really listening to fish. He was looking at his reflection in the water and admiring the reflection of his beautiful tail. Well, the autumn came, and all of beaver's friends had moved away looking for what they were looking for: twigs and leaves to build a nest, grass to eat, and warm water to rest in. But beaver wasn't paying attention. He was having too much fun admiring his own tail. Well, one day, as it got a bit colder, beaver was out in the woods and he was a little bored, so he started chewing on a tree. And then he realized that the way he was laying, he could just about see his tail on the other side of the tree. And so he got up and he began chasing his tail around the tree so he could admire how beautiful it was and burn off some of his energy. And then when he got tired of running, he would lay down by the tree again and begin chewing on the tree again. Well, he did this for a while, and he was so involved in admiring his beautiful fluffy tail that he wasn't paying attention to the tree. And he wasn't paying attention to the fact that he wasn't chewing on the same part of the tree every time, and that the tree was becoming more and more wobbly as he continued to chew on the bottom of it. Until finally, one time as he was racing around the tree fell down. And when it came down, it landed right on beaver's nice fluffy tail. He was caught, trapped by the tail under the tree. And he called for help, but nobody came. And so finally, beaver started pulling and pushing and pulling and pushing and pulling and pushing, trying to get his tail out from under the tree. And when he finally managed to pull his tail out from under the tree, it wasn't beautiful and fluffy anymore. It was bare and flat, and it wasn't nice and soft and silky, and he was so disappointed and so upset that he sat down on the ground and he began to cry. And he cried, and he cried, and he cried. Well, I don't know about most of you, but when I start crying, and I'm crying really hard, I really wish somebody would come and give me a hug and comfort me and let me know that I'm not all by myself. But Beaver was all by himself. All of his friends had gone. And after a while, he stopped crying about his tail, and he was crying even harder because his friends were gone and he had lost all of his friends because he had been so absorbed in looking at his own tail. Well, after a while, Beaver stopped crying and he decided that he was lonely, but there wasn't anything he could really do about his loneliness except keep himself busy so he would be distracted. And so he did. And as he went about his day and he felled trees and he dragged them to the stream and he built his dam, every time he felled the trees, well, when the trees came down, that left a little more room for the sun to come through. And so new green grass started to grow. And as he dragged the branches out across to the lake to make his pond, to the river to make his dam, little twigs and bits of leaves and things fell off of it and littered the ground. And as he built the dam, the water slowed down behind the dam and it became much calmer and it warmed up a little bit. Well, as the spring came, Beaver's friends came back around. And they noticed that Beaver wasn't paying attention to himself all the time anymore. He was actually quite busy. And they were admiring the dam that he was building from a little bit of a distance. And they saw that he would balance on his tail as he chewed the bark off of a tree before he put it into his dam. And that when he swam across the river, he used his tail like a rudder to help him swim straight and true. Well, when Beaver realized that his friends were standing there watching him, he slapped the river with his tail. It was very loud and was very effective, and his friends knew that he wanted to make an announcement. And he swam over to them and he said, "Oh, my friends, I am so sorry that I was so focused on myself and all I ever talked about was myself and my own tail and how beautiful I thought I was. I am so sorry. Your friendship means so much to me. Please, 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 won't you stay? Please don't leave again." And Beaver's friend said, "Well, you know, Beaver, we missed you too." And Deer said, "You know, there's so much grass here now that you've felled all those trees. Of course my family will stay. We have plenty to eat now." And Bird said, "There are all these twigs and leaves all over the ground. Of course me and my family will stay. Beaver, you've given us plenty of things to build a nest with." And Fish said, "Well, Beaver, on the other side of your dam, the water is so calm and so warm. It's wonderful. Of course I will stay here. It's a beautiful thing." And then they all said to him, "You know, Beaver, that tail that you have now, it's quite amazing. We wish we had one like that." And Beaver looked at his tail. It wasn't all furry and smooth and round and puffy like it was before. It was wide and it was flat and it had no fur. But it was very glorious. And that is the legend of the beaver's tail. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll come back and join us again on Friday at 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time. We'll have another story for you here from the Milledgeville Public Library of Illinois. Bye.